Here we go.
WLFE DB Radio.
Are you ready?
Live from the Metal Mayhem Studios in Rochester, New York.
We are gold.
And heard around the world by metalheads just like you. This is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Heavy metal music.
Your weekly dose of metal music, interviews, album reviews, news, and more. Want to be part of the show? Send us a message through our website, metalmayhemroc.com, or hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Search Metal Mayhem ROC.
It's getting nice and heavy.
And now, welcome tonight's host, John the Vernomatic Verno.
Good evening, everybody. As always, brand new content drops every Thursday night. We invite you to visit the brand new metalmayhemroc.com website. There you'll find direct links to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, however you're getting your podcasting content. There you could download and review and like old past shows. Check out our new Meet the Team page. It's profiles of all the guys on the show. Metal Walt, Ian O'Rourke, Metal Mark James, all the guys that help make Metal Mayhem what it is. Today we have an interesting and exciting interview. We have Ritchie Randall, guitarist of the Missouri band Gravehuffer. 2021 saw them release their new album of Necroclosion. Band is on Black Doomba Records. Just discovered this band a little while ago through a joint interview from Lady Red on the Metal Devastation radio website and radio show. So I decided, hey, let's get these guys on here, see what they're all about. So I'm going to bring in Ritchie right now. He's sitting in the waiting room, and here he comes, Ritchie Randall. Hey, Ritchie, welcome to Metal Mayhem. How are you, man?
Hey. Pretty good, John. How are you? Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, like I said in the intro, not that familiar with the band. I've been doing show research, getting into some of your releases. I like what I hear. It's, hey, man, it's a kaleidoscope of sounds. You know, you got crossover, you got metal, you got this, you got that. And it's like I said, a nice buffet of what's going on. So give me and the audience a brief history of the band, where you're from, and what makes Gravehuffer huff.
Well, my name's Ritchie Randall. I've been playing guitar for probably about 30 years or so. And just preface that. So Gravehuffer. Myself and our bass player, Mike Jilge, and our original drummer, Larry Deerdorf, we were in a band in the 90s called Initial Detonation, which was kind of like a crust punk crossover kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, but we're a little all over the map as well. And so we have some chemistry prior to Gravehuffer, and they had actually got back together in 2006 under another name. And then Mike was playing guitar. So he was like, I'm not digging this guitar stuff. So he's like, I'm going to switch to bass, and I'm going to give my buddy Ritchie a call. And so that's basically what happened in 2008. And they called me up, and the rest is history as far as that goes. But so yeah, we've been a band since 2008. We were originally called Crom from the Conan the Barbarian movies. Okay. Yeah, you know, Arnold, Conan's deity or his god, you know, he'd always go Crom. And so that's kind of where that came from. But Gravehuffer, I think it was 2012. Yeah, 2012 when we changed the name. There were a lot of other Crom bands out there, and we were getting confused with like rap artists and bands from Italy and all over. I mean, there was a ton of them, and then we didn't really know this at the time. So there was a tornado that hit Joplin, where we're from, Joplin, Missouri. It was in 2011, and it just really threw a wrench into things. You know, I lost my house, and it was a mess. But so we took a hiatus for probably 7 or 8 months. And when we got back together, our bass player Mike's like, we ought to change the name of the band, you know, before we really get going, because we released one record under the Crom moniker, and you know, it did okay, but we didn't have much of a presence online or anything yet. We were just playing local shows and stuff for those first few years. mean, although we did open for DRI, Death Angel, we had a couple of pretty cool gigs, but we weren't playing like real far away or anything. So when we changed the name to Gravehuffer, we still played the old Crom stuff because it's the same band. We just changed the name.
Yeah.
And the Gravehuffer name came from a friend of ours who was going to use it for his band that never really got going. And we always thought that was a killer name, you know, like it's wild, you know, it's so unique. And so we just asked him, hey, Dozer, can we use your Gravehuffer name since you're not going to use that anymore? And he's like, oh yeah, sure. Just throw me a free T-shirt every once in a while. And so, that's kind of the deal.
Well, it is a cool name. It's like, first of all, you know, in the metal arena, there are bands with Grave Digger and this and that, but Gravehuffer, it's you know,
that Huff name. You know, we've had people ask if we're like a big druggy band because of the Huff name. You know, no, not really. I mean, you know, everybody kind of smokes weed or whatever, but you know, we're not really into like hardcore drugs or anything. Or huffing stuff, you know?
I mean, it's just
it's just a cool. We just thought it sounded cool, and it kind of took on a life of its own because we have a song called Gravehuffer now, and it was on our first like Gravehuffer. Well, I guess our second Gravehuffer release, Your Fault. It kicks off the record, and DJ Thunderhead actually from Metal Devastation Radio. He put together the sound effects for the beginning and the end of the record. And so that was really cool to work with him on that. And, but Gravehuffer.
Mike's a good guy.
Oh yeah, dude, he's awesome. Mike and Grace are the reason that I got on the MDR, you know, so they somehow got a hold of one of our songs and asked us to hop in chat. And I was like, I've never been in a radio chat room before. You know, this was like 2014 or 15, something like that.
Yeah.
It's been a while back. And Metal Devastation was pretty new at the time, and so I've been there for a while. And then, man, they've been some of our biggest supporters. Hell, you know, DJ Martin on Wednesdays. He does. He's a DJ on one of our newer songs, "Death Before Disco." It's like him introducing to the crowd the hottest sensation of the disco. You know, and like he's the.
Oh wow, hilarious. That's cool.
Yeah, and he's introducing the band, like, and we play a snippet of a Bee Gees song. And
I saw that.
Yeah. And so it's Martin introducing us, and our bass player, Mike, like he'd always wanted to do that. So he'd been wanting to do that whole Death Before Disco thing since the initial Detonation days in the late 90s. And he's been harassing us about it forever. And he finally learned that Bee Gees bass line. And so we're like, well, shit, we got to do it now. So
quick note, you do have a cat that's walking above you. It looked like it was gonna attack you. What's the cat's name?
Her name is Kit Kat.
Kit Kat.
And, she's been walking above me.
I thought she was gonna so no, it's all good. So Metal Devastation has its fingerprint.
She was asking me,
what's that?
Okay. But yeah, we just got that cat. Actually, we just got that cat, and she's a bobtail calico, and her legs are longer than her body, and she's real awkward, and she kind of looks like a big rabbit. And she's a nutcase, but anyway.
Well, I was just commenting, Metal Devastation has its fingerprint all over Gravehuffer. The 100 Thunderhead show, Mike and Gracie, and you know, everyone. Well, great. You know what? That's part of the reason why I took my talents to MDR at the end of 2021. I love them, Mike and Grace, you know, everyone. So, all right. Well, let's talk about the band. Your influences through show research. It's, you know, you're all over the place with. Some of the crossover and you know, some of the older death metal and whatnot, Crumbsuckers, DRI.
Oh yeah! Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in my early to mid 50s, so
so is our bass player.
Yeah, so we went through all that, and back in the 80s, that stuff was like a distant cousin of metal. A lot was, you know, the Offspring, the Nuclear Assault, the SODs, and then you had the Crumbsuckers, Mucky Pump, and you know.
Oh my gosh,
yeah, a lot of those.
I mean, that's those are our formative years, you know, like that was like all that stuff was new back then. So it was totally a huge influence.
Is that what you feel you personally, your roots are in, or it's just part of it? And what makes
That's
up?
just, oh, go ahead.
No, it's just like what I just see. I'm just you just hear the influences in these songs,
right? Yeah, that is a big part, is the crossover and the thrash and like hardcore punk and stuff like Black Flag and early Suicidal Tendencies and like Encircle Jerks and all the bands you were talking about. DRI is a huge one. But then, you know, we got like traditional metal, like Judas Priest is a huge influence on me. And, you know, I like the old death metal, like Morbid Angels, like probably one of my favorites. You know, Obituary and, you know, Deicide, Cannibal Corpse, and, you know, all that stuff, you know, I was like huge to me. And then there's stuff like even, you know, with Godflesh and, you know, it's a lot of that early Earache Records stuff. That was huge. And so yeah, I think you're pretty much hitting the nail on the head there. I feel like I'm more of the metal guy, and Mike, our bass player, is more the punk guy. And then our singer, you know, he's into stuff like Frank Zappa and all this like weird stuff. And so I mean, it's just, yeah, we're kind of all over the place. So yeah, you pretty much nailed it.
Well, I'll give you some quick observations after listening to some of your music. The song Causes.
Yeah.
So it's a little different than the Ghost Dance, but I noticed like the second half of the song, you know, you have a traditional guitar heavy metal sort of
right.
You know, it's just chugging along, and the vocals are. I'm trying to say it's a nice blend. It's different, and it just always goes back to. It sounds like Gravehuffer. You have all these influences, just like every band, but you sort of shake it up, and this is what comes out. And
yeah, I think part of that is songs like you're mentioning, like Causes. You know, it's like really fast, like punk rock, and then it does get more metal, and it starts freaking trumpet and trombone at the end and stuff. And you know, it is, everybody that's heard that's always like, man, that's pretty cool. You know, we got a friend that, you know, he I actually work for a university here, and he is one of the not band directors, but I think he teaches trombone in the band for Missouri Southern. And we got him to play horns on a few of the songs, Death Before Disco, Causes, and Mad Wolf. He plays on our upcoming record we're working on too. And I don't know, we just kind of feel like if it sounds cool, then why not? You know, that's kind of always, that's been our approach all the time. And usually if songs have like, oh, there's a metal section and a punk section, usually that means we've collaborated. like Mike wrote something and then I wrote something, and to us it's like super obvious. And some people are picking up on it though, like you yourself, you know, you seem to pick up on that. And I think part of it is like we were talking about our ages and you know, we've listened to lots of music, and when you grow up in a time when all those types of music are new, it just has a profound impact. So I think that's why it sticks with us.
I see some collaborations. Chewy from Voivod, and
yes,
you know, Curran from Annihilator. How did that come about? Or it's not a regional thing.
Yeah, I know, right?
Are you label mates? Just become friends with them? Explain that.
Yeah. Well, Chewy, gosh, I think I just messaged him and I just point blank asked him. Like we even had on the previous record, we had Carlo Regatas, who was in Carcass, play a solo. Chewy, I can't remember exactly how that all came about, but I think I just messaged him just out of the blue kind of thing, and just basically said, hey, I'm in this band, would you want to do a solo on a song, and it's about Buzz Aldrin and the space program? And he was like, Oh yeah, he was like really excited about it, and he is a super nice guy, super easy to work with, and the solo he turned in, like he played multiple parts on it and like these weird harmonies and stuff, and I mean I was almost in tears when I heard it because I was like, this is fucking amazing. I don't know if I can curse, but
oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, whew, okay. There I have done interviews where they've told me not to, but so yeah, it was awesome. And so, and he's even put the invite out for us to jam with VOIVOD and when they're in the area. And so we're like trying to figure that out. But and then Curran, he actually builds my amplifiers for me. And Custom Audio Mutation, it's a company he's had for probably 5 or 6 years now. And he's got a studio, he's got a shop, and anytime we play Ohio, we stay at his house. And,
I was gonna say, where's he located? It's
Akron, Ohio.
Okay.
And he was in Annihilator. He was on 3 or 4 records, and he was also a touring guitarist for Nevermore. And so he's got lots of cool, interesting stories about those bands, of course. You know. So yeah, I mean, it's a cool guy, and like I said, he builds my amps, and I actually got to know him through the amps before anything else. And then he was wanting to record us in his studio, but we just couldn't commit to basically getting over there. And so I asked him like, hey, what would you think about laying down a solo on a song? He's like, oh, hell yeah. And so he did the solo for Stronger Than Death, which is about, or Smaller Than Death, sorry, which is about Andre the Giant. We wrote that about Andre after watching his HBO documentary. Yeah,
I saw that. That was something.
Oh my gosh, it was. Yeah, I mean, it's like you
sad.
Don't realize
sad.
It really is. Like you don't realize how hard of a life he had.
Yeah,
and so that was basically the inspiration for that. But yeah, Curran was really cool to do that. And his solos multiple parts too, and it's just shredding all the way through.
Now the collaboration with Chewy, was that remote? And
yes.
Was it a COVID? It was COVID time. You're recording that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it wasn't in COVID, would there have been a chance to, like, where is he? Montreal? Where is he living?
Yes, he is Montreal area. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Probably still would have been because I think they were getting ready to record that new Synchro Anarchy album, right? He did that solo like I think a week or two before they started tracking, because he even told me all this stuff, and so it was kind of cool getting a little inside scoop on what VOIVOD was doing.
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean, yeah, and I kind of had to keep my mouth shut. So, I mean, of course, now it's not a big deal, but yeah, it was pretty cool, and we went back and forth. Oh gosh, probably 3 or 4 different times about, you know, we'd send him some things, and he was like, "Well, what do you guys hear?" And we're like, we was telling him to like, you do your thing. We asked you because we like your style, you know. And so when he, you know, gave us a solo, we're like, that's exactly what we wanted, and then some. So yeah, it was definitely interesting, and it would have been really cool to, like you say, not do it remote. And Curran's was remote as well, but we could do him, or we could just, you know, we play Ohio fairly often. So yeah, who knows?
You know,
we got some. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to comment that through the various interviews with different people, because of COVID, the remote recording process has become more not popular, but more the way to go because of restrictions.
Right. Exactly.
Now, when Gravehuffer records, obviously you're probably all together because you're local. Right. Did you ever have any experience with remote stuff prior to that? And did you pull anything out of it that maybe would open the door for more reaching out to other artists? Like, hey, man, you know, it worked once. Why wouldn't it work again? You know, let's give Zach Wilde a call, see if he would lay down a riff, or
right.
Not Zach, you know, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's
you just never know. I mean, that's a really great question, because it was funny what I was getting ready to say. It segues perfectly into what I was getting ready to say. We do our upcoming record we're working on is it's not all about Dante's Divine Comedy, but one song, it's like half the record. It's like a 20+ minute song. And we've got some special guests on it. Cam Lee from Massacre. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but
no, I haven't.
Okay, he sings on it, like a pretty large section. And have you heard of James Murphy from Testament and Death and Obituary?
Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna play a solo on it.
Cool.
And we've got I got a friend of mine that I've known since like junior high. She plays cello on it. Like our friend Doug that played on Necro Eclosion plays horns on it. And so yeah, I mean we worked on some of the other stuff. Because the Dante thing is way out of our wheelhouse, but it's like we've never done some of the stuff that we're doing, and it's not like a new direction or anything. We just kind of had to get it out of our system because we've talked about doing our quote unquote Rush 2112 song forever. You know, we've kind of wanted to do a song that takes up one side of the record because we're all big prog rock fans, and we just kind of wanted to. I don't know if we wanted to prove to ourselves that we could do it, but everybody that's heard it so far is like completely blown away. We're on Black Doomba Records, and Tommy Stewart is the label guy. I don't know if you've heard of Hallows Eve.
Hallows Eve, yeah. Death and Insanity and Hallows Eve. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
I'll say Doomba's Tommy's label.
Yeah.
Because I heard up here in Rochester, New York, we have a couple podcasts that Grim Dystopian. They handle
oh dude, I love them.
I've
done interviews with them.
Oh, okay, yeah. And so they did that's how I discovered them, even though you know we live 5 minutes away.
Wow.
Well, the metal community,
That's so awesome.
But they were that's what I heard the Tommy interview. And, and this was a few years ago.
Yeah.
And now that we're putting the pieces together because he was talking about the So okay, so you were saying I don't know how we got off topic.
Oh no. Black Doom, but we're on Black Doomba and Tommy's label, and he was on Hallows Eve, pretty big deal. He's on Metal Blade. Dude toured with Slayer and Motorhead, and Tommy's always got stories about the good old days, So we'll sit back and listen to Paul talk about the old school metal. But Tommy and his drummer Dennis listened to the Dante thing, and Tommy was like, he was just like, he's kept saying, "Holy shit! Oh my god!" He was just like, he couldn't believe it, and so I'm like, oh man, it's like. It's an amazing feeling, but it makes you nervous a little bit too. I don't know why, but Tommy, he plays on it. Actually, he plays some cool bass stuff on it, and his drummer Dennis does some cool percussion on it. And another kind of cool deal was I got to play a Hallows Eve song with Tommy on the last run of shows we did with them in January. We played Metal Merchants, and let me tell you, I haven't been that nervous and. Shit, I'd say 10 years or more.
Why? Because you're with Tommy.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Why are you so nervous?" I'm like, I've never played this song before. Like, it was like we're talking about the remote thing. I had to learn it remotely. I never rehearsed it with them, and luckily I didn't fuck up. So it actually went over really cool, and the crowd was like, went wild. Everybody was started moshing and stuff. And I'm like, yay.
In your assessment, do you think the crowd knew the song?
Yes. Okay. Most of the crowd actually did know that song. And so, Hallows Eve, they do pretty well for Tommy. I think from what he tells me, they still he doesn't promote it that much. Not near as much as what he's doing now with Direwolf. And he's like, dude, he goes, the streams and the records sell out. And he goes, it just kind of blows my mind how the legacy that they still have. So, I think it's great for him.
Well, Ritchie, let me ask you, do you think in your assessment, do you think that, come on, that album was almost 40 years ago.
Right.
No, but it's the the new generations going back and finding that, and it's had a rebirth, and it's not just the old guys discovering it. It's the younger metalheads. A lot of what we do up here is, at Metal Mayhem ROC, we try to, educate the younger people on, the history, but yet the old school on new school. It's a two-way street. It's like, dude, we all love the vintage stuff, but there's just tons of new stuff that, expand your palate. So
exactly.
So when it comes to the old, let me ask you, Richie, that older stuff as a musician, when you play it, do you? It's like, wow, this is not so much harder, but it's just different. It's almost sometimes simpler, but harder in the same way. It just it just gets to the point, like, those riffs.
Right. Well, yeah, when I had to learn that Metal Merchants, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a weird spot for a change. Like, wow, he's doing that there. It was to the point in a way, but there were also this crazy amount of creativity in the way they arrange things, and that's kind of what took me aback at first. I was like, man, they really there just wasn't much music like that back then, and it just blew my mind how, like, Tommy's like, oh, it's really easy. I was like, yeah, you've played it for 40 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, I was a nervous wreck, but after playing it, after I'd say probably about 30 seconds, I was like off to the races after. Backup vocals too. Shows. And so, yeah, it was just awesome. But yeah, I was taken aback a little bit by how, like you say, the same, but still it felt like it was refreshing almost in a way, because I'm familiar with the song, but you're not like intricate or intimate, let's say, with the song until you play it,
I'm not a musician, so I can't relate to that. That's why I asked you, as a musician, you've heard these songs for years, but I don't know how many times you go down and try to learn a song, or when you listen to a song, you're like, oh, I'm sure there's times you listen to them like, oh, that's a cool hook, or I wonder how they did that. But this is my theory about some of these older bands. That everyone's I'll use Metallica as a example. People are like, oh, I wish they would go back and write Ride the Lightning Part 2. It's like, listen, back in 1984 and 84, when they're 83, 84, 85, when they're doing those albums, each album, that was their new ceiling.
Oh yeah.
And that's all not the best they knew. That's like the max of what they knew. And then the next album, you can't go back as a 50-year-old. Too much. That's what I'm trying to say. Know too much. It's like, and it's sort of like the same equation with you as a new artist, doing the old, trying to play the old stuff. Back then, Tommy and those bands, they they didn't have Pro Tools. They didn't have computers. It was still blade and tape editing. It was multiple. So when the writing process came, it was in the room jamming. It was just hours and hours. And I think that's what that spirit of the music comes from. Now, seeing that you've been into, learning that with Tommy and doing that, does do you take any of those ideas and almost bring them to the Gravehuffer rehearsal room, if you will, and almost like, let's try to dial it back a little, maybe go a little old school, and maybe you'll get a little farther, just something different.
Yeah, it's funny. We've been recording the other part of this album, the more, I guess, I hate calling it traditional, but like, I guess the more typical way we would write, because the Dante thing was way different. It was a completely different process. But these other songs, it was more of how we would just get together and just jam stuff out. Because normally we would rehearse. What we do normally is we rehearse for a show or rehearse the set, and then we just start jamming. And whatever comes out of those jams, somebody always has a phone available or whatever, and we'll just record. Oh, that's cool. And when the room lights up, then we'll jam on that. Well, where does it, and then one of us will be like, oh, I hear this here or this here. And so, yeah, we definitely write that way. We don't typically write in our bedroom or in the living room, like just laying down riffs. I mean, we do that too. I mean, it's kind of a combination of all those things. But I feel like some of the best stuff is the stuff that we collaborate on as a band. And even if we do bring in individual ideas, that stuff, it's like clay. The rest of the band kind of molds it and adjusts it, and okay, we're gonna put some paint on it or whatever to make it a slightly different, or a different picking style, or maybe move this chord down one fret, or whatever the case is, whatever everybody hears.
Yeah, well, that's the creative process in the Gravehuffer way. We spoke with we're friends with Braun from Mastodon.
Yes.
And they were talking about the Hushed and Grim sessions, and they're to the point now where like 3 of them are singing, and it's remote. Everyone's scattered everywhere.
Right.
Living in different towns, but the point I'm trying to make is that their creative process has changed. It's so whatever works with the band.
Right. Well, Necro-Eclosion was a little bit more, just to cut. The way we kind of had to do that was pandemic times, and so it will be just 1 or 2 of us together at a time, and then another couple of the guys, different guys together at a time. And so we were just trying to be real careful, and then the whole Dante thing, it was way different. Like I had probably 50 to 100 riffs on my phone. And what the concept was, okay, write something that makes you think of Dante's Inferno, of being in hell. And so I mean, that's basically how that came about. And then Paradise was definitely the hardest, because it's like, oh, I got to write about heaven. And it still be intense and metal or whatever, that was very difficult. It's probably the hardest thing we've ever had to do, at least for me. And I think when people hear it, they're going to be like, man, that's pretty different, guys. So yeah, it's pretty wild. But it's funny you mentioned math. And I listened to Hushed and Grim like last night. So yeah.
Yeah,
on the same wavelengths, man.
Yeah, great band. We're talking with Ritchie Randall, guitarist of Gravehuffer, the 2021 album Necro-Eclosion. What's the touring plans? Are you getting back on the road? Are you on the road? Coming to Rochester at all? You ever play Rochester?
No, we're gonna be playing. I think the closest we'll be playing there is Teaneck, New Jersey. I mean, that's kind of across the state. We're playing a New Jersey Metal Fest. It's July 9th.
I think we're closer to Akron than we are New Jersey.
Well, yeah, probably. Yeah, we're playing in Canton the night after at the Buzzbin. Yeah. We're playing everywhere, man. Playing everywhere.
I know some of the bigger tours. What's your routing situation like? Is it do you handle it? Do you work with it outside? So it's still internal like that.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm trying to find a booking agent, but there's one guy I'm talking to named Nick Harris, I believe. He's from, I can't think of the name, Atomic Sound or something. I can't remember the name exactly, but he's booked some friends of ours. One of them called Yatra from Maryland, and Horseburner from West Virginia. They're more of the Doom scene. The people that we met when we played Maryland Doom Fest last year, and that was really cool because we made some good contacts through that. And not to mention, it was an awesome show, and they had Maryland Doomfest beer that was amazing. But it's weird. Like we played several like breweries and distilleries in the last couple of years, and so I mean we're not like a big drinking band, but I mean we'll have one or two, and it's always nice to drink the beers that are like different and have a unique flavor to them, or local, or to me that's just more, I don't know, more adventurous and cool. You know, I don't know, it's kind of like the band, you know, we try to be a little more adventurous. And so yeah, like you said, like you were asking about routing, yeah, we do all that ourselves, and we typically do all these, Mike likes to call them ninja runs. We'll go on like 3 or 4 days. We'll hit like here coming up, we're doing a couple of dates in Wisconsin. We're playing Wisconsin Rapids and I'm probably butchered this, Wausau. I don't know how you say it, but it's just north of Wisconsin Rapids, about 70 miles. We're playing some shows with Tommy and his band and Grave Next Door, and then some locals from the area. And then we're doing a Colorado run at the end of May. We're playing like 4 or 5 shows. And then we're going to hit Ohio, New Jersey, when I was telling you in the 1st of July. Then we're doing like some Indiana shows in September. And so, July, we're also doing New Orleans and Arkansas. And so, I mean, we just kind of like, it's weird how we have to do it with everybody's jobs. So we can't really do like these 2-week schleps or anything. We kind of have to do weekend warrior type stuff, but you know, it works really well.
Well, you know, we've dabbled in some club promoting up here. We brought we brought Last in Line to town. Promoted a couple Dockin shows.
Yeah, I love Dockin.
Yeah, well, actually, it was a good turnout, but that was those were pre-COVID. And you know,
was George Lynch playing?
No.
John Norum.
There's Chris McAllister on bass. John
Levin.
Yes, John Levin. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we saw one of the last shows we promoted with Doc, and was one of the last shows Wild Mick Brown played with him.
Oh man, nice. I love Mick. He's awesome.
But the point I was making is, you know, when you're coming back, you're in Missouri. Well, I guess Rochester really isn't coming back from Jersey. You probably go a different route.
It'd be kind of slightly north, but yeah, that would be really cool to. I guarantee you we'll do something there. We know a DJ from another station that lived in Ithaca that's not that far, and so she has some connections there too. So yeah, that would be really cool.
I think with the combination of Metal Mayhem ROC and Grim Dystopian, you know, and
that's what I was getting ready to say.
And the record archive, you got a big metal contingency there. You know, you can get a show at the Montage or something. And
right. Isn't Nuclear Assault in that area?
Yeah, Danny Lilker.
Danny Lilker,
yeah.
He's like our bass player. That's like, he's like our bass player. His 3 favorite bass players are Danny Lilker, Shane Embury, and Geezer Butler. So I mean, he would fucking shit if Danny was anywhere close.
But Danny, go down the street, see him right now. He's
right.
He's always here. And a couple retirements. Said they were wrapping up the Nuclear Assault camp after.
Yeah, I saw Danny had said something about this might be the last U.S. stuff they're doing. Yeah, because they're playing a Game Over or something, right?
Yeah, Game Over in its entirety. And I just saw something about the end of the Maryland Metal Fest. This is
I saw that too.
Yeah. Well, it was weird because they said this year, and then next year's definitely out. And then moving forward, we'll see what it brings.
Right.
We were. No, we were experiencing some.
It kind of broke up on me.
So that's unfortunate. How do you take a year off and come back? It's tough. So again, so you got the 4 or 5 dates, and then sporadic. What'd you call it? Kamikaze or
ninja?
Ninja.
Yeah, it's just like these ninja runs. We just do 3 or 4 dates, and we usually do a couple a month. And so we'll play, 7, 8 shows a month, and starting March, April, all the way through September. And then when it gets cooler, we usually don't play out as much, especially north, just to be safe. But sometimes we'll go south. Like we did Texas in January. We did 4 shows in Texas, and that was amazing. It was really fun. We played a record store / brewery, and that was in particular, that one was amazing.
Well, if you're playing the breweries and you get people there, it's a bash. What the hell?
I mean, seriously, and people were just having a blast. Like the record store show was like in the record store. There was no stage; it's just you're on the floor. And that was one of the shows where I'm playing with Tommy, Metal Merchants, and the kids just like ate it up. I mean, it was just amazing. And so yeah, that was awesome. We played Acadia in Houston, which is a really cool place. Like they have like this pro light and sound rig that they just got. I mean, they got like strobes and like lasers and fucking fog machines and all this stuff. And like, even if the turnout's not all that great, it's like one of those dream come true venues to play just as in the band.
Yeah, I know. You purposely route that next time to shoot a video.
Seriously. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, the half the 3/4 of the stage production is here for us. So
right, yeah. So and the guy that runs sound, Tommy Skinner, has been doing it forever, and he's a really funny guy and real sarcastic, and he loves us, thankfully. But so yeah, it's cool playing these shows like this, that we can get to meet these people and go back, because we've played that place in Houston a couple times now, and it's just cool making all these cool connections. And that's what it's all about for me, and I think for the rest of the guys as well, is making cool networking and just making all these cool, playing all these cool places and meeting new fans and all that stuff. It all kind of snowballs, and hopefully it's a good outcome.
Well, next time you're in Houston, look up James. Oh my God, James from Hellstar. That's where they're from. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The last name's escaping me, and that sucks because we've talked like 6 times. They'll come to me in about 2 minutes when we're offline. So.
Sure. Oh yeah, probably.
All right. Well, Richie, anything you want to say to the audience before we get out of here? It's great talking with you. We could talk for hours. And
yeah, thanks, John. Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I hope we can like hook up for something in Rochester. Yeah. That would be amazing. I'm glad you brought that up. Hopefully we'll figure something out there. And like I said, we're gonna go ahead.
No, best way for people to get your product: Bandcamp, GraveHuffer.com. What's the easiest direct route? Sometimes you got to dumb it down for them.
Yeah, GraveHuffer.bandcamp.com. That's my first go-to for everything, and we sell merch on there. And we've got like posters and vinyl and CDs and patches and beard oil and all kinds of shit up there. So all kinds of fun stuff, stickers, all that good stuff, and it's all like cheap punk rock prices.
Oh, cool.
You know what I mean?
And listeners, shout out Richie on Facebook. He'll answer you. Start the community.
Yeah, I mean, I try to be as responsive as possible, and even on the band page too. I'm like, my phone's up my ass half the time, so I feel like I try to be as responsive as I can, and because I know the feeling. You try to reach out to somebody and you're left on red forever, and it's like, wow, way to be a dick. But it's like, I don't know, why even have the capability to contact somebody if you're just not going to like respond. So I feel like I try to treat people how I want to be treated. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess.
All right, cool. So again, the band GRAVEHUFFER, the album Necro-Occlusion, and check them out. Richie, thanks for spending your afternoon with me.
Thanks, John. I appreciate you having me, man. It's been a blast.
Okay, we'll talk soon, bud.
All right, man. Take care. See ya.